Med school has always been seen as this incredibly difficult thing that consumes your whole life. But how much truth is there in this, really?
I recently made a video where I got all of the big medical YouTubers into one single video. When I spoke to all of them, I asked them the same few questions. One of the things I asked is, if you could go back to medical school, what would you have told yourself about medical school? Stick around to find out what they said. As always, if you're new, make sure you're subscribed so you can join the team.
I'd probably encourage myself to document more things as I went along. Like keep a journal, keep track of interesting tiny things that have happened. It doesn't have to be public, like it probably should be private, but it's just that kind of stuff. Like I really wish I had my thoughts feelings from my first few months, first few weeks, first few days of the job. I
would say to myself, don't spend all your time learning about the really obscure things, and every single little detail is a lot. I look back at some of the flashcards that I made in first year, and I've gone into so much detail about these things that I know now, like I will never ever get examined on, / will very rarely even be like implemented into life, like working as a doctor. But I think when you're in first year, like you think, oh my God, I've got to know everything, like I did my A levels like the back of my hand, and there's more and less importance placed on different things like weighting that I don't think I realised.
I think one thing a positive thing is that I'll never get bored of hearing patient stories. That's something I probably didn't appreciate. I assumed that everything would lose its novelty, but I think there's something special about the people you interact with as doctors, because every single person is different and they come from a different culture, different background, different experiences. So I think that's something I probably would have told myself to like reassure myself that it won't ever get boring, because every single person you speak to will have a unique story to tell.
Anytime I look back at my journal where I did do journal entries, I always feel, wow, I'm really glad I wrote this all down. And then who knows, in 25 years time, you can be the next Adam K and you can just cherry pick things from your journal and turn it into a book.
Would that be as a personal reflection exercise, or more because you wish you had that to reflect on, to have the content?
Personal reflection is good at the time. I always like looking back at my private journal entries, not because it's good content, but because it's just interesting. But it does unlock the option of good content further down the line if you have a very long-term view of it.
Pause the video because, guys, I am setting a like goal of 700 likes. That would make this my most liked video ever. I've never set a like goal before, so please support the video, smash the like button, and now let's get on with it.
Med school is not going to be at the end of your life. I think a lot of people, especially me, like when I was going into medical school, I was thinking, oh my God, there's this huge like stigma that everyone talks about, that medicine's so difficult and you won't have a social life, you won't have a personal life. And that for me was just so scary. And I was just like, oh my God, as soon as I entered like medicine, like I'm looking forward to it so much. But once I enter medical school, my life is over. And I think probably for a lot of first year, I had that feeling as well. And sometimes as medical students, we can almost like convince ourselves once we're in medical school that it's supposed to be hard. So let's make it hard for ourselves. It's supposed to be hard. So I should be in the library studying 12 hours a day every single day because that's what everyone thinks it is. But actually, after starting med school and going through my first year, going to second, third year, I started to realize that of course it is hard in terms of learning things, and all exams all the time is difficult. But it's definitely not the end of your life, and it definitely shouldn't be. And I think it can be very easy to let that be the end of your life if you do decide to study and spend a lot of your time working. It doesn't have to be that way.
Like I think there's things that you need to cover briefly, and so you have so you have a good understanding of it. But then there's the things that you do actually need to know, like the back of your hand, to the common things.
We have reading weeks. A lot of the lectures are recorded. So actually, I think going into medicine, it was the opposite. I think my life became a lot less academic and a lot more fun compared to like when I was in biomed, which for me was like such a huge like shift. And I was thinking, oh my God, like my life is coming to an end, but actually it's not. And I think that's something I try to remind myself every single day, like in fourth year and fifth year, and hopefully when I go on to be an F1, F2, it's not let medicine be the end of my life, and remember that it doesn't have to be as difficult as everyone says it should be.
I'm not sure that, I feel like I went into medicine with my eyes open, so I haven't been really shocked by anything. I guess, something you're told, but you maybe don't appreciate till you start doing the job is quite how much there is to wade through, how much admin and stuff. So it's not necessarily the job you dream of doing at school or medical school. But I think if I had to give advice to somebody else in that position, then I'd say that it's very easy to get funneled into a certain way of doing things in British medical training, and you don't have to fit a round peg into a square hole. You know, don't be afraid to kind of do your own thing. Even if you're going into quite a competitive specialty, you can still, you know, be an individual and don't feel like you have to tick all the boxes.
But even some things I look at, like obviously we've had a lecturer and a consultant has come in, and because he's interested in it and he's passionate about it, he's shared all these like incredible new treatments that are available, or like new research that's coming out. And then I've made like 50 flashcards on all this new research, and I'm like, I look back and I'm thinking to myself, first year Faye, like you are never going to get examined on that. That is like consulting level stuff. Why have you made flashcards on it?
You obviously compared it to when you did biomed, and I think when you were doing biomed, you needed to work hard because you needed to get a good degree to then get into med school. Whereas now, I know I'm saying just pass med school, but you're doing a degree to pass med school and be a doctor. So I guess there's less of that fierce competition there for you at the moment.
If I wanted to get like an extra 3 or 4% in my exams, because the difference between like maybe being, I don't know, being in the bottom half compared to the top 10% is only a couple of marks, because everyone does really well in med school. And if you wanted to work hard to get those extra 2 or 3 marks in the exam, it will take a huge amount of effort to get those extra couple of marks. And you know, that will have a huge impact on your life, but not necessarily on your job as a doctor. Because at the end of the day, being a doctor is not just about being smart and not just about having good grades. It's about being a really good person, being cultured, you know, being a rounded, like, you know, rounded person. And that doesn't necessarily come from just scoring very highly in your you know, academics.
Before I started medical school, sort of what I had heard from other people and from doctors, family members, etc., is that medical school is going to be this extremely difficult, very challenging process or time in my life. I'm not going to have time for anything else. It's going to be all studying, all learning. And that kind of scared me a little bit. It didn't put me off from doing medicine, but it definitely had me a bit scared. And I think what I found when I came to medical school was, although that is true to some extent, there's also so much fun to be had, and there's so many great experiences that you're going to have, friends that you're going to meet, and things that you're going to do that aren't necessarily studying or locking yourself in your room or being in the library or whatever. So yeah, just being open to those experiences, taking advantage of them, and seeking them out as well.
Times are changing as well, from like this paternalistic medicine where people were in hospital for like 24 hours to like people actually wanting to have lives and things like that as well.
Lives, yeah. Like medicine is something I enjoy so much, and I definitely want it to be a big part of my life, but it's exactly that I want it to be part of my life, not my entire life from the moment I wake up till the moment I go to sleep. And yeah, I think that's...
I feel like we've been on this journey together, and we've learnt about reflecting and journaling, ignoring the obscure things, focusing on the common things, and not letting medicine become your life, or being afraid to do your own thing. Enjoy your life outside of medicine, but remember at the heart of it why you got into medicine in the first place. And listen to those all-important patient stories, because everyone is an individual with a story to tell. We're aiming for 700 likes on this video, so please smash the like button and the subscribe button. Take care, and I'll see you next week.